Peace and love, family. Welcome to the Pretty Priestess, where pretty is as pretty does. I challenge pretty on a physical, a mental, and a spiritual level. We are challenging to make this world a pretty place, pretty much. So peace and light, everybody. Definitely want to start off the day to get the vibe on point with a groove that just does something special to me. And I thought I'd share it with you real quick. Just going to give you a brief snippet because you just got to just enjoy the vibe on this one right here. So here we go.
She got the same as the first day, sexy as hell like the first day. Baby, don't change, not a little bit back, 'cause I love you the way you are. You always know what to say, just to make my day. You always know what to wear, when it's time to play. Baby, we never even had an argument, never even heard you say where the hell you at. Plus I don't even know what you're thinking. Any minute you might just get naked. I'm down, yeah. Girl, I'm loving the way you keeping me on my toes. I'm loving the way your body goes. Your body goes, things your body knows. I'm loving the way you feel inside. It's a real inside. You got that, girl, you got that energy. Yeah, you got that energy. Yeah, girl, you got that energy. You got pretty everything, everything. Oh, you got pretty everything, everything. You got pretty everything, everything. You got that energy. It's not a mistake. She had her own place right off of Biscayne, but she moved to the air with your boy. So we can shut up all the noise and all of the hate. Cause they'll be talking about whether they know about it or not. When the only thing that matters is that we cherish what we got. We got ourselves, we got this love. You what I want, you what I need. I'ma protect, I'ma provide. Let out my life, but that's what it be. Oh, baby, you know what you're thinking. Any minute you might just get naked. I'm down with it. I'm down with it. Girl, I'm loving the way you keeping me on my toes. I'm loving the way your body goes, things your body goes. I'm loving the way you feel inside, it's a real inside. I love you, yeah. You got that, girl, you got that energy that I need. Yes, you do, baby. Sexy, yeah. You got that, girl, you got that energy that I need. You got pretty everything, everything. You got pretty everything, everything. Oh, you got pretty everything, everything. You got that energy.
Woo! I love that song. You got that energy that I need. We talking about pretty everything. And I thought to myself, I said, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. Pretty everything. We talking about showing up on point in a very special way. Having your mind right, having your appearance on point, and having your spirit right. Oh, that's pretty everything, family. And we definitely want to get on this particular subject so that we can dive a little bit deeper on how we can bring some light into this world. Because right about now, what is today's date? Today is August the 18th, Ashe to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. His birthday was today or was it yesterday? It's somewhere in here. But Ashe to the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. New moon energy right about now, family. New moon energy. New moon in Leo. Leo seasons. Ow! Leo. And Leo is all about that courage energy. It's all about the heart right about now, right? So this new moon, they're saying that now there's a burst of creative energy that's coming out here. So have the courage to make those changes, to get those projects that you've been working on jumping off. Now, I know that we say every time that there's a new moon, it's an opportunity to get things done, get this done. But that's what the new moon is all about. It's all about pursuing those goals and making things happen and setting those intentions for things that you want to happen. So when the full moon comes, you want to drop off all of those things that's not serving you, that's preventing you from getting to the goal when you were setting that intention during the new moon. So you definitely want to get in on this new moon energy. Definitely start some projects. I know personally, I got a lot of projects that I have been working on. I've been half-stepping like nobody's business. And I'm definitely working to get those things together. And I will absolutely share all of that with you once I get it done, because I am not going to talk about it. Absolutely going to be about it. So, and this right here, this is one of those things. I made a backward map a few years ago. And so now what I'm really trying to do is bring that feng shui energy all throughout the house and everything. So the room that I'm in right now, this is like my study and chill room and all of that, right? So this is the only room that's not decorated. And according to my backward map, it's right here in this future reputation and fame area. How about that? So I think that my next project, I'm not talking about it. I can talk about it right now because I have not started it. It just was something that that just spoke upon my heart, especially since all of the other rooms I got feng shuied up just for the most part. Got some few finishing touches that I want to put up in there and everything. But this one is definitely a place that I want to make some adjustments and really be able to tap into that creative energy. And I believe right now will really be a good time. But I absolutely have to tie up all of those loose ends that I left unfinished. Now is the time to close all of that shit out. Because if you're like me, and push it off and finally get it done, or you hurry up and you tackle a whole bunch of tasks. And this is the other thing that I do. I'm a taskmaster, so I'll get a whole bunch of tasks done. But then when it comes to a project, I'll work on it vigorously for a while, like it's a task, and then I'll stop, and then I'll come back to it. And then after a while, I'll start thinking, maybe not so much. So, but now I'm really in a space like I need to see this shit through. I need to really make that adjustment. And definitely, family, that's what I'm going to do. Any expectation of success dictates that you complete those things that you need to. So that's that on that. What else is going on in this world? Joe Biden picked a new running mate, and apparently it is a black woman. Whoop, 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 whoop. Now we know there's a lot of backlash out there because the word on the street is that she was a prosecutor in California. I want to make sure I got this right, because I ain't really dive into that because I was on something else right about now. But she was a prosecutor over in California. When she was locking black folks up like it was nobody's business. So a lot of criticism for having no love for the brothers and sisters out there in these streets. And apparently she interviewed with someone and was talking about how she didn't want to give black people reparations. But I heard a clip of it, and what she did really was dance around it. Like, what she wants to do is help all poor people to get some type of money, to get some type of assistance, so her plan is to help people that are poor. as opposed to giving the black community reparations for many generations of suffering. And we're not just going to isolate that to the whole unfortunate historical travesty of slavery, but the many years of Jim Crow segregation, disparities within the criminal justice system, any other fair and harsh treatment, draconian laws designed just to lock black folks up. I think that there should be some compensation for that. So how do we have this conversation right here? So this is what we're talking about when keeping it real goes right. And it really touched my heart because I was talking to a colleague who's a black person like me, and he said, well, you know what, Case, you know, I don't see color. I said, oh, yeah, really? He said, oh, I don't see color. And so he started going into telling me all of this BS and this and that. And what it seemed to me is if this was something that was said because he wants to make the white people feel comfortable that's around. But so I asked him a little bit more. I said, so you don't notice that, you know, all of the mistreatment and all of the other things that was going on in the neighborhood? Oh, yeah, I see that. But the first thing that we need to pay attention to is us killing each other. And I thought to myself, no, the fuck, this fool did not just go here. No, the hell he didn't. I got to tell you something. In my humble opinion, this is my main thesis for asking people of African descent, asking us melanated beings, if you don't want to be classified as black, to consider the impact of worshiping or giving homage or giving praise to a God that is not in your image. It makes it this much easier for us to disconnect from our true sovereignty if we have an image of those individuals. It looks like the individuals that had been oppressing us. And I'm not saying that we need to sit around and hold a grudge, but those individuals that oppress us created a God, a deity in their image and presented it to their slaves to worship. And for the most part, have been forced. And I got to tell you, like, I grew up under this system. It is an effective spiritual system if you work with it. It is an effective spiritual system. Now, in my humble opinion and respectfully, there's level to spirituality. There's levels to that. But when I was at that level, I got great benefit from that particular spiritual system. So there's no knocking to it. Even when I had a picture of a deity that looked like someone else, and certainly not me. See, what this ends up doing, see, we have a lot of undoing. And this right here, in my humble opinion, is at the absolute root of why we accept a second-class citizenship. And we go out of our way to make sure nothing that we say is upsetting white folks, because we don't want them to be mad at us for merely stating the truth about our condition. Because it makes them feel bad. It makes them feel guilty. But you can't benefit off of a system that has its foot on our throat. So when we talk about when keeping it real goes absolutely right, I'm talking about how keeping it real goes right, not because you want to win friends and influence people. I'm talking about so that you can continue to have a little bit of self-respect, a little bit of self-love for yourself. Because then when you love you, when you respect you, when you honor you and are true to you, your expression in this world shifts. It shifts and you can give people your greatest version. Because not only are you being authentic, it's easier. It's an easier bag to carry. It's a much lighter load. As a matter of fact, it's absolutely weightless. There's no baggage to being you, to doing you, to being true to you. And what's wrong with that? And it's not a situation of being argumentative, right? It's not a situation of being argumentative at all. Merely letting someone know that their perception of your reality is just that which it is, a perception. So how we go about addressing that? Because, I know a lot of us, we got colleagues that are white or colleagues that are not black, because even though we may work with a lot of other individuals that may not identify as white, they may not necessarily connect to our experience as we do. The wounds aren't so deep for those other individuals. Now, they may see what's going on, but the wounds are deep here. And I'm going to tell you, like I said, now let's go all the way back to what I just said again, because I'm not here to win friends and influence people. I'm here to keep it real and let it go right, because my true intention is to free you. I just lost my train of thought. But when keeping it real goes right. So if you have to tell someone that your experience isn't true, how are you going to give your greatest expression? How are you going to give your most authentic expression and become your greatest version? How are you going to walk in sovereignty? How are you going to feel that you have any type of supremacy about yourself if you can't even seek a God in your image? And I'm not trying to tell people, because I know there's a lot of spooky folks out there who think, oh, I don't know God, you ain't gonna tell me, I can't deify myself. Okay, well, if this is the position that you take, that's fine. Absolutely. Okay, you don't want to give yourself that much. Cool. However, the image. See, when you look at God and you see all of those things that you hold sacred, that you hold as righteousness, that you hold as truth, as light in this world, in an image of somebody that's oppressing you, you start taking this position in your mind that maybe you deserve this space in life. Like that bullshit where they saying that we a cursed generation and all of this other foolishness. We got to really pay attention to the small subtleties, because we beat ourselves up. We're like in an abusive relationship almost, where we have been beaten and taught that this way is the only way, and we just fall right in line. It is a traumatic slave disorder. Now, this book right here, oh my goodness, what an awesome book this is. This is Dr. Joy DeGroy Leary, who wrote this book on post-traumatic slave disorder. I got hip to her when I was in grad school, and I referenced her book a lot in my thesis on and I really dealt with like disparities in the criminal justice system and everything. I really dealt with a lot of that. And this book really kind of got to a lot of the root of what the thought process in the African American community that would keep them in a space to stay oppressed. And those factors that she has in this book, I haven't read this in quite some time. I was just going through books like, ho. And then long this to one of these cats at work that had the nerve to act like he didn't want to return it. And I told him, you have to return my shit because this is like one of my library books. But she talks about vacant esteem. Vacant esteem. Vacant esteem. Vacant esteem is when you don't really know for sure who you are as a person and kind of attached to any old type of bullshitting ass identity. And this right here, in my humble opinion, is the reason why we keep holding a deity that looks nothing of our image as those things that are holy and sacred and righteous. Now, I know that I got a picture of Ganesh. I got a picture of Kali, Shiva. Don't none of them look like me. I ain't no elephant. I ain't purple. I ain't blue. You know, I ain't a Hindu deity, but I don't worship none of those. Those ain't my be all and end all of what righteousness, what holiness is, and what's truth and right. These are energies that I connect with. And I hang them up to remind my subconscious mind to tap into that force which is already in me. It ain't about me looking for somebody to save me. If I'm going to look for somebody to save me, it's going to look like yours truly, family. That's the seed right there for us to have that pretty mentality. See, if you want beauty in the mind, you gotta be able to disseminate what truth is. And you gotta really begin to consider some of those things that perhaps could be holding you back and preventing you from becoming your greatest version. When you see someone else as superior, family, you can never become your greatest version. If someone that looks like someone that looks nothing like you, that is not in your image, it is something you will never be. If everything that's righteous and true is something that you'll never be, I don't know what to say, family. I just don't know what to say. So in having these conversations, number one, we got to make sure that we kind of stand in a place where we're true and real, right? But when we gather that love up within ourselves, that esteem within ourselves. Now, I just gave a major key right there to dig in the root of that, right? But when we start really, really addressing that, then you can stand your ground. You can keep it real. And it goes absolutely right when you engage in a discussion with somebody that's trying to make you feel that your reality isn't so. So you don't get a person like Joe Biden's running mate. I almost forgot Kamala Harris, who has grown up as a black person, and I think I saw her little she had a little clip when she was like running for president where she talked about how she was bused to school and how all these white folks didn't appreciate it and they gave her a hard time, and she went through all these changes, like all that hell you caught, and you still don't think that it's just due for us to get reparations as a result of that experience. It makes me wonder where the root of that is. It does. It makes me wonder where the root of that is. Because even in a situation like that, And I do understand that there's going to be a lot of people that disagree, and it's not because they don't think that it's not due to us. Absolutely not. They know it absolutely is. I mean, the history indicates that, but what that means is that you may get something that they don't, and you may surpass them in wealth, and God forbid you end up being better than me, because we have been taught as society that they are superior. Thank God. How many Negroes you know got a picture of white Jesus on their door? And John Kennedy all up on, on their wall. And there ain't nothing wrong with Jesus, but why he don't look like you? And you know what? I'm not even gonna get into this whole into the whole deification thing, because my biggest concern is not how you get down on any spiritual level, but what your perception of God looks like. You must deal with that. You must deal with that. And when I'm engaging in a conversation with people, I really try to think about engage the response that I'm looking for, right? I'm really trying to gauge that. So what I'll do is I'll set the intention for what feeling that it is that I want to evoke. And then I'm going to tailor my delivery. So if I want to smack you with some cold truth and dump it on your head like a cold bucket of ice, then I will tailor my message to do so. However, if genuinely I see that you are an individual that wants to learn, and this is a person that I want to dialogue with, or this is a person that I truly care about, and they're absolutely operating in ignorance, then I try to really appeal to them. And usually when you're talking to someone who is absolutely unaware, and this is what I mean when I say ignorance, not being rude as some people use that, but ignorance to me, in my opinion, well, not even my opinion, in the dictionary's version of it, is lack of knowledge. When you don't know, when you're unaware, right? And when those individuals are unaware, to tell somebody about their ignorance, it doesn't really sit too well with people. But if you can validate people's perspective and how they see things, then you're able to get alongside that person and be able to create a space for dialogue and exchange. You will completely change the energy if you validate a person's opinion and let them know how you can absolutely see how they came about that, how it makes sense. Because most of the time people are very logical, and where they're coming from, it makes absolute sense, right? However, it'll make absolute sense. However, we disagree. So when you let somebody know about how it absolutely makes sense, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, you know what? I do get what you're saying when you say that race doesn't matter. You don't see color. Now, fuck is you talking about, man? Miss me with that bullshit. That's not going to create no harmony, right? Because, of course, that's what I'm thinking. But me, I'm trying to do the pretty everything. I'm trying to be on this level mentally and spiritually. Because it's real easy to dress up and look good, you know. But to get your head together, to get your mind in the game, that's a whole nother other. So when I saw this brother and he told me that foolishness, and I was like, man, I see where you're coming from, man. I get that. And I see how that makes sense, because we connect with so many individuals that are not the same race as us, and we really want to make them feel comfortable, secure, and welcome when they come around us, and we don't want to have that uncomfortable tension. So I get and respect that. And we also have to get in respect that there's a very real oppressive force that's out here that is really, I'm not going to say holding us back, that is really mistreating us. There's really a disparity in the treatment. There really is a public outcry to get people to recognize that our lives matter, because it seems that so many people have forgotten about that. And it doesn't make us less of a friend to hold that space and be aware of that and not waver from it. Because I need you to recognize that anyone that's not going to allow you to hold your own space and your own opinion is probably somebody that needs to get the hell from around you anyway, family. For real. So when we're coming together with people, I'm wrapping it up because I'm about done for today. Agree to disagree. But there's levels to that, right? You want to make sure that when you're in a especially when somebody told you some bullshit, and you know that they mean well and that their heart is in the right place. Because if they ain't, there's also ways to address that. We'll do that on another show. But when they are, we got to have mercy on folks in this world. I know we want to chew them up. I know we want to get their ass. We want to smack them around and tell them, get your head together, damn you. It will learn you, darn you. However, we got to handle people gently. Let's be careful with how we handle people and show some people love. Because when keeping it real goes right, when you show love, when you keep it real, when you treat people with honor, when you keep it real, oh, you can tell anybody just about any old bullshit that you up to. And I mean any bullshit, because when people know that you're connected to them, that you care, they open their hearts up to be in a space to accept you. So please recognize what I'm saying right there. I'm going to call it the day. I want to tell you about some dope shit to get real quick, because I did forget to tell you about that. So far, I just got this book right here. I was waving it around while I was listening to the music, but I definitely want you guys to check out, if you're listening on the podcast, this book is called Orishas, Goddesses, and Voodoo Queens, the Divine Feminine and African Religious Traditions. This is by Lilith Dorsey. I have only gotten through the first chapter. I just got this book the other day, and I have to tell you, I am super, super excited. This book is dealing with goddesses of the African diaspora. I am so excited. It is such a relief for people that look like me to put work like this out that I can really connect to, that I can get into. And I don't have that traditional spiritual system thing going for me, but there's a lot of information here that I can work with to better myself, to better my experience in this life. And I'm so happy for that. So check this book out right here. It is by Lilith Dorsey. You can find this on Amazon or eBay or anywhere else online where you find books, because that's where I got it from. And I'm here to tell you, this book is some dope shit to get thus far. Now, if I get on further down in there, and it's not so dope, I'm going to still call it some dope shit to get. And the reason why is because it is really giving me an intimate experience with some energies that I really, really need to connect to. So peace and light and peace and love to Lilith Dorsey and this powerful ass work that she's done. Oh, keep it gangster, ladies. So I'm going to wrap it up, family, because I spoke my piece. And again, I went a little bit too deep. So we'll talk about some other things next week. But I just want to remind you to have mercy on those people that they do not know as much. They may have an intention to do something that's harmful, but their intention is out of complete ignorance. We have got to light it up, family, because pretty is as pretty does. Peace and light, peace and love, family.